Nicholas Rushworth, who joins me now. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi, Lorna.
Right, so it's getting pretty hot on the Hill in Washington. That tax deal that we mentioned in the bulletin has handed President Obama a bit of a victory just before Christmas. And the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, is on the back foot now. So what are the papers saying about that?
Well, I turned to the Newsweek Online, the Daily Beast, and it's got a picture of John Boehner, the Speaker. He's looking very bleak, midwinterish there, I thought. And the paper argues that the Republicans have handled the payroll tax debate badly on the Hill, and they've caved into pressure to extend it by 2 months. The paper is saying there you can see a Christmas gift, and that is echoed in the article in the Daily Beast, which is by contributor Michael Tomasky. And he says there you can see Christmas gift to Obama, that sentence again. Now, Tomasky's arguing there, Obama has had a dreadful year, but thanks to the politically asinine miscalculations of the House Republicans, he is now ending it with a bang. And the story here, of course, is that this is yet another standoff on the Hill, not unlike the debt ceiling cliffhanger we saw earlier in the year. Lorna. Indeed,
or perhaps a fitting end to the year, as we said earlier. But it was slightly too early for the American print editions to get the result of that vote. But what did you see on Twitter? You've been looking at that a bit.
Well, I spotted a couple of tweets that made me have a laugh with basically John Boehner is the man in the spotlight here, and Pour Me Coffee is saying in her tweet, she has Boehner saying, "Go away, I'm listening to Adele and I'm not coming out." Now, Adele, of course, is a British singer, popular right now. Her latest hit is Rolling in the Deep. Another tweet, this time in French. It's by French Ketchup. I couldn't resist that title. And that one there is saying, hey, the Republican House Speaker, John Boehner, is more unpopular than ever.
OK, perhaps not wrong. But we're going to move back to here in Europe now, because the debt crisis is, of course, one of the key concerns over the holiday season and over the break. And lots of people are hoping that the European Central Bank's move to provide some cheap loans will help things out a bit there.
Well, in the Wall Street Journal Europe, their editorial is saying that, well, this giving the cheap cash to these banks is a decision by Super Mario Draghi, the ECB president. Now, the paper there is arguing that Wednesday's mammoth lending spree won't fix what ails the Eurozone. It says the 489 billion euros, again, huge sums, Lorna, we're constantly hearing about all the time, here in 3-year loans to 523 Eurozone banks, is sending a false signal about Europe's crisis. And the editorial there is arguing that, well, it's just about creating time for politicians, giving them a reprieve, and in fact the paper is saying that time could be wasted. Look at this in the China Daily Europe, a cartoon with a Beijing perspective. You can see there sort of tsunami effect. The debt crisis is swallowing, you can see the Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum in Rome, and Big Ben, so the Europeans. But that wave is heading to an American on the beach, with Americans looking on. Now, China Daily Europe is saying Western policymakers are replacing old debt with new debt. And what's happening here is that, in fact, the US is heading for a dangerous place. It, too, does not have a grip on its debt crisis.
OK, now, what do you want for Christmas is not perhaps on everyone's lips, given these economic worries.
Well, there's this kind of miserable-itis gone mental in some parts of the press. And I noticed this, the cover story in USA Today, the international edition. Look at that, a little boy is not going to get any presents, Lorna. Just say no to Christmas. There's a woman in New York, Susan Lee, who says, I've had it. I'm not going to do it. She's sending the kids off to her divorced partner. And her quote is, no gifts this year, no turkey and no tree and no kidding. Wow. So that's pretty stiff. It
certainly is. Poor child, though. It sounds like they might suffer as well as a result.
And I can go to the British paper, The Sun. Even worse for us, Santa car stolen as he hands out gifts. Now, that story there, Santa in the middle of the country of Leicester was handing out gifts to toddlers. He got back to his car to find out it had been nicked. So that's absolutely terrible. And
broken Britain, no doubt, David Cameron would say.
Well, yeah, of course, reference to perhaps the riots earlier in the year. But the policeman who's reported in that story is saying, can you think of a more despicable crime than stealing Santa's car? So.
Well, presumably the thieves weren't aware that it was Santa Claus's car. But anyway, still a very sad story to end on. But thank you very much indeed, nonetheless, Nicholas, for bringing us those international newspaper reviews. Well, let's get a reminder now of this Friday's top story.